Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today in War Thunder we are going to be going over the May sale which is happening. Now normally what we get is a Victory Day sale during this time, but it seems like what Gadget wants to do is incorporate more nations in a single sale, and this really can only be a positive thing, you know. At the end of the day, when it comes to Victory Day, it does mean that certain nations such as Germany, Japan and Italy kind of have to be excluded, but with just a general May sale, or let's say kind of a spring-summer sale, then you're able to actually introduce all parties to the mix, and therefore you can give, sales across the board. Now, whether this is going to affect other sales such as the summer sale, the November sale, or maybe German Unity Day sales, we'll have to see in the future, but at least for now, it's kind of nice to see that we have some extra deals on it. So, obviously, to start with, there's some vehicle discounts, and since I was predisposed on the 1st to the 4th, I apologize, but there was 30% off vehicles available for purchase with SL and GE in-game from ranks 1 to 4 for Germany, Japan and Italy, and now you have the same deal for China and France for the 4th to the 7th, and also the 7th to the 11th, the same deal for the USA, USSR and Great Britain. So if there is a specific vehicle that you are looking to buy, which would be a little bit cheaper now, this would be the time to do it. Now, also remember, when it comes to the terms of the offer, the ones which don't apply to this offer are vehicles from Northern Wind and Viking Fury, so pretty much the last two updates which were added in, so pretty much a lot of the Swedish vehicles, and also certain other ones, such as machines added to the Chinese tech tree, and a lot of the top tier machines that we see around the place. So, if you're waiting for those to go on discount, that would probably be in the summer sale once we get the next update, which I'm guessing will be 1.99. Also, there are some modification discounts, so across the board, from the 1st to the 11th of May, there is 30% off modifications, 30% off talismans, and also 30% off backup vehicles. Now, talismans isn't a terrible thing, if you have a vehicle which you are very, very strong with, talismans are a great way of taking that vehicle and just making it a little bit more useful in the overall grind, giving you plus 100% RP when controlling the vehicle. It doesn't give you any SL bonuses though, which is one of the very large strong points of a lot of premium vehicles. So the fact is, if you do have a vehicle you really like grinding with in the tech tree, it might be worth putting a talisman on it, but understand you may struggle a little bit when it comes to the SL as you research through the vehicles. There's also some premium account discounts from the 7th to the 11th, 50% off premium account for 90 days, which is available for Golden Eagles in the game, and 50% off premium account for 180 days in the Gaijin store. Unfortunately, there's no 365 days here, but that generally happens in the November sale and also the Christmas sale. So I would always say the best investment that you can do in War Thunder is premium time. What premium time gives you, if we just switch over to the game right now, is premium time gives you the ability to have plus 100% research across all game modes, so technically plus 200% if you add in the other stuff, and then plus a bunch of different Silver Lions rewards percentages across everything. So it doubles the amount of research that you get per battle. It at least doubles the amount of SL you get per battle. It is just the thing which affects every part of the game. A lot of people will say, oh, well, you should buy this specific premium for this specific tech tree, or maybe you should buy, this specific talisman for this specific vehicle. Why not get premium time, which pretty much covers it all? Premium time is one of those things which is able to, at the end of the day, be useful at every level of the game for every single vehicle. It is a no-brainer to buy, and it is also something which I personally say is kind of a given that you should have in War Thunder, especially since it goes on sale so often, since they do these, half-a-year ones and 90-day ones. Normally, I would say wait for the 365-day one, but if you personally are looking for one to pick up right now, I think getting this 100 180 days, and it will be at $20. So technically 2 McDonald's meals, if you want to put it like that. So $20 or two McDonald's meals, or let's say lunch for 2 days. So if you skip lunch for 2 days, this is how much it will cost you. And for me personally, I think that is definitely worth it for half a year worth of premium. Obviously the better deal is the year premium, but it isn't being offered right now, so that is the best you're going to do. So out of all of these, the best deal across the board is this premium time, by far. The next one as well is they are bringing out a Weapons of Victory bundle. Now, they actually bring this bundle out every year, but they actually bring it out in different ways. So this time they're just doing a massive one-off bundle with pretty much everything in it, which is kind of insane to see. And as you can see, because of that, it is quite expensive. $77 across the board, reduced from, of course, $308, which is kind of crazy. And also you get a nice unique title with it. Now, one thing that is true is if you have any of these packs involved, then, and you are signed into your account, of course, then that will be deducted from the overall price of this. So probably a lot of people have maybe picked up some of these packs, across the way over the last few years. So maybe this will overall be a little bit cheaper for you, but overall I do think it is quite pricey for what you get. The majority of these vehicles are pretty good, but they're seen nowadays as kind of mid-tier vehicles. This is going to be available from the 7th to the... this will be available from the 7th of May to the 11th of May, and then you'll be able to purchase this bundle in that time. There is also some other stuff as well. You can also get the unique title if you log into the game from the 7th to the 11th of May and gain at least 1 victory, and at the same time you've previously purchased all separate packs. So if you're just looking to get the title and you already have all of the other packs, all you have to do is play a game, if you have all of them. Now let's go through the packs and see if this overall is worth it. So technically, how many packs are there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 packs, $77. And also this is discounting the premium time in GE, which comes in those packs, just because I can't see the packs right now, but let's say that's worth maybe $30, right? Because I think that's fair. It's probably worth a lot more than that, but let's just say 30 just to be fair about it. So then you divide that by around about 12, you're looking at each vehicle costing about $4 if you break it down, and that is an incredibly conservative estimate, may I just say. So $4 per vehicle in these packs would be insane value, especially with what you get out of it. So you've got the P-47M. This is an amazing plane, not just in air realistic, but also in ground realistic. It also now has a place in naval because of its secondary loads. The LA-7, I've never been a fan of. If I'm quite honest, I don't really like the Levechkins. I don't think they fly very well in game. Good old Golovachev's Yak-9M is an okay vehicle, but it doesn't really get the job done too well. It's one of those rank 4 Soviet vehicles which doesn't really fit the meta too well. Pertinagat Spitfire FR Mark 14E though does, with of course its wonderful engine, so I would definitely say that's a go. Plagueis's Spitfire Mark 9C is also a go, just because it has a lot of maneuverability. It's really good at teaching people how to defensively fly. We've already talked about Boswick's. Wetmore's P-51D, if you're squadded up with it, it actually works really well. It's also very good in a secondary role in ground realistic. The IS-2 Revenge has seen its day and it has passed. The IS-2 Revenge, in my opinion, is a completely terrible vehicle, and it's one of those ones which has so many issues. Doesn't have any gun depression, doesn't have a good reload on it, doesn't have the top Dishka, doesn't have really good penetrating rounds, which is something that when you have something like an IS-2, that's what you need. You need a gun which, if it does have a long reload and does have a lot of the issues when it comes to, you know, the gun depression and everything, you need it to one-shot, one-kill. And yes, if you penetrate with it, you're going to, but the issue is the penetration isn't always there on the IS-2 Revenge. The T-3485E is a solid vehicle. If you've ever played any of the T-3485s in the game, game, you'll realize how good it is. Plus, this has a bit of chicken wire on the top of it, meaning it has a little bit of extra armor. The black print is a very nice novelty to have, but in my opinion, it is a hanger dresser. It is too slow, and its armor is not good enough to stand up to the rounds that it faces at its BR. Hopefully, at some point, it gets a BR decrease. The M10 Achilles, I personally don't really like it because of its horizontal turret drive being so slow, and also not being able to adapt to conditions as quickly as a lot of other mediums that you see. The Black Cat is a fantastic machine, very fast, very nimble. You're able to go around the place at a crazy click, and that is always fun to do, and generally it's good for making a sell and slots into that ridiculous 5-7 American lineup, which is so fun to play. The Canadian Stuart is an amazing vehicle at 2.3, and coupled with the normal Stuart in the tech tree, it's actually a really nice little lineup that you can create around it with the P400 in tow as a rank 2 lineup that you can do stuff like daily tasks in, or maybe not daily tasks, but stuff such as, authentic decals in, stuff such as, any of the Build-A-Bear events where you need to use rank 2 and above. It's very good for getting first places in. The Stuarts are incredible machines at the end of the day. So I would say out of all of these, so out of the 12, you've got, 3, 4 good, 5, 6, 7. So 7 out of the 12, I think, are very good vehicles. The other 5 definitely are not the best, but I think if we're just talking from a general point of view, this pack is worth it. And also, if you are an individual who, of course, has, some of the packs beforehand, then you'll get an even better discount on the rest of the packs. If you're a person who is looking to play all different tech trees of the major nations and are looking as kind of like a starter pack to kind of get into them, I would say this is actually worth it. If you are a seasoned player who is generally, rank 4 or 5 in most nations or the majority of nations and are kind of, past that level of grinding, it's not too useful apart from certain ones such as Bostwick's and also the Black Cat. So yeah, it's definitely a mixed bag, but I would say it's overall worth it. They're adding in back some old premiums which were taken out a while back, and they're adding them in at a GE price. So for the time being, you can actually, here we go. They will also remain available following the end of the offer. Okay, so these are actually staying in. So if these stay in until the next sale, then they might actually get a percentage off of them, a discount off of them, which may be worth it. So that's something I have to take into account, because these coming back as GE vehicles is really nice to see. It's nice to see that. I don't ever like stuff which is kind of just hidden away from everything. I much prefer it be available to the majority of people in the game instead of people, just having this like unique vehicle. No, I'm not really much of a fan of that. So let's have a look at the 4 vehicles that are on offer. The first one is the M26 Ariete. This was a original premium. I love it how it's marked as a new vehicle. This was an original premium for the Italian tech tree before the Italian tech tree even existed. This and the Leoncello were the first Italian tanks added to the game, and the M26 Pershing that you see right here is slightly different to the one that you see in the tech tree, because the one in the tech tree has access to the M3A1 cannon when the Ariete only has access to the M3. This one is a carbon copy of the one that you find in the American tech tree right here. So if you've played the American Pershing, you have played this Italian one. Now, in my opinion, when it comes to the Italian Stallion, the Pershing, I think there are much better options at 6.3. You've already got the Orbal 74, the Fierce 6614, and the M26A1. That's a pretty decent lineup to play and a pretty decent lineup to have a bit of fun in. And the fact is, when we're adding another Pershing to the mix, the Pershing has always been one of those vehicles which has been in a weird place. What I mean by this is it's kind of between BRs. If you actually put it lower in BR, it would be incredibly strong. If you put it higher in BR, it would be completely useless. And because it's at 6.3, 6.3 is a BR that gets updated a lot into 6.7, and 6.7, the majority of nations have an incredibly strong set of heavies. And since you're Italian, you normally face the Allies, and guess what the Allies have at 6.7? Big old bruisers. You know, you have the T-34, you have stuff like the T-29, the M26E1, you have all of the light tanks. Then for Germany, you got the Tiger II-H, you've got the Panthers. You have the Ferdinands, and you have the Jagdpanthers, you have all of these vehicles. The Soviets don't really have a 6.7, but the British have an incredibly strong 6.7, with the Carnarvon, the FE4202, the Cent Mark III, and also the STRV-81, which I believe is actually getting taken out of the game. So the fact is, when it comes to stuff like the M26DC Ariete, at its BR, it's actually a pretty fun vehicle. It's also got a lot of strengths. When it comes to its gun generally one-shot stuff. Wish it had a little bit more penetration, but it's not too bad. But the main thing is, once you get up-tiered into those heavies, you get stomped. You get absolutely battered. There is no remorse, there is no recourse, you just get annihilated. So that's something that you do have to think about. It does have a nice camouflage on it, but that's really about it. The next vehicle that is on offer is the Type 5 Hori prototype, so this is for Japan, coming in at 6,090 GE, which is, let's say, quite expensive. If this is the price across the board for all of these vehicles, 6,000 is a lot. And what I mean by this is, so for 6,000, if we look at it generally, that's $40. So if I said to you, you could either get a year's worth of premium, because remember, half a year right now is $20, so if you buy two of them, that's $40. You can either get a full year's worth of premium, or you can get a Hori prototype. It's a tough sell, isn't it? It's a really, really tough sell. And for me, I think the sell is just not there for that price. But for 50% off, for 30% off, which is, you know, what's going to be happening over the next few times, once this becomes not a new vehicle anymore, I think personally it would be a nice pickup for maybe 30 or 50% off. Maybe you get one of those discounts in games. Because the Hori prototype at 6.0, you have kind of an interesting thing. So first of all, you have an okay 6.0 lineup. You know, you can throw in the Bulldog, you got the Duster, and you can run this as a like main battle tank in a way. And at 6.0, you'll actually get down tiered to 5.7 a lot, because the Americans are very strong at 5.7, and a lot of people play them. So, with the 105mm experimental high-velocity cannon, with the decent speed of the Hori prototype, and with the just general armor of it, even though it's not as strong as the production variant, it's still good enough to be able to withstand a hit, and even if you do withstand a hit, it's really hard to one-shot a Hori prototype. You normally have to put 1, 2, or 3, or maybe even 4 shells into it to keep knocking out, you know, the gunner, the loader, and then of course the commander and the loader back here. So I actually think it's not a bad pickup, just not for 6,000 G. 6,000 G seems way too high for this machine. Then, of course, you have access to the Narval. So the Narval is a French machine, which kind of struggled from its inception. It wasn't a very good plane when it first came out. It's 5,000 G right now, but it's 5,000 G at 5.7, but nowadays it's in a much better place. It was given an air spawn in Aerialistic, it was given more armaments when it came to its secondaries. You know, it has access to now these T-10 151 rockets, and then also two 1,000 pounders. So the fact is, with it's at 5.7, you now have opportunities to be able to play it alongside stuff such as the Aero 44, the Panther Dauphine, and also stuff like the Jumbo if you want up tiers, or the SA-50, which works pretty well in an up tier. So there are now options for the Narval where there weren't options before. It's a pretty good strike fighter. It's very good at taking out bombers as well because of its air spawn. But if it has to fight in one-on-one situations, it gets pretty annihilated by anything that it really sees. I think personally, out of the three, so far, it's probably the best case to pick up just because of its multi-use. I really do like the Hori prototype, but the price is very, very hard to muster. The next vehicle, which is also on offer, is the Carl Golster. This was a starter destroyer premium for the Germans, and it's at $6,090, so once again about $40. And once again, hard to justify the price for it. At least it's 4.3. So if you didn't know, across the board for naval, I played a lot of the destroyers. You can see I played a ton of them and had a lot of fun, if I'm honest with you. I spaded out all of the Japanese ones, the Soviets, I researched all of them, had a okay time with them. The Americans, it was a breeze. The British, I still need to finish them, but I've had a good time in them. And same with the Germans. But whenever I've actually hit 4.7, whenever I've actually had to use a 4.7 machine, you just end up facing stuff like Graf Spies and Eugens and Hippers and getting battered, and also Brooklyns and Helenas. So with that said, when it comes to the Carl Golster, it is really nice that it's 4.3. It is also just a better version of a vehicle that is sat in the tech tree right now, the Type 1936. So if you want to pay for power and you want to pay to win, make sure to pick up the Carl Golster today instead of, just leaving it behind. But as I said, I would wait until the machine has a little bit of a discount on it. 6,000, it's very hard to say to somebody, okay, you can either buy, obviously this is after the 7th that I'm talking about, but you can either buy, a year's worth of premium or a Carl Golster. It's a pretty simple choice. It's a very, very simple choice. So if this was a little bit lower in cost, I would definitely say it is worth it, especially if you want to grind out, the naval lines of Germany, which are pretty fun. Their destroyers are great, and their light cruisers and heavy cruisers are some of the best in the game, but the price is very high, incredibly high. So the next set of stuff which is also going to be going on is the fact that some packs are getting taken off the marketplace. So we have Bostwick's P47M, the Kiyoshima, the Tomahawk, the P40, T62, the Cowl, and also the Centurion, which is kind of sad to see, but not really a surprise because of the fact that they added the Centurion Action X. So remember, Bostwick's is in this Victory Day or Weapons of Victory bundle. So if you pick up that bundle, you get Bostwick's anyway. But if you want to have a look at the different ones, that's the premium account. This is Bostwick's. So Bostwick's is $30. You get 15 days worth of premium account with it, so the plane itself is probably around $25 to $20 by itself. If you're going to pick this up, it's much better to just pick it up in the Victory Day pack. If you want to pick it up individually, it's an insanely good plane. The Bostwick's has the ability to be good as a high altitude interceptor, which is incredibly valuable in War Thunder, especially against a lot of German aircraft, which do climb very high. Bostwick's is one of the only ones that can actually compete at them at that high level. And then also the secondary fact that it has access to so many 50 cals, has access to so many bombs, has access to so many rockets, just makes it incredibly fun to use and an incredibly good vehicle. Now, I would always recommend the P47M, just because you can do all that and run it with a stellar ground realistic lineup for America. The Kiyoshima is just a better version of a Japanese Yugumo that we see in the tech tree. It's also $50. It's way too expensive, especially since you can pick up the Udachi right now on the market for a lot less price. So this would be a no-go for me. The Tomahawk is actually 30% off because, of course, it's on the sale right now for China. So make sure to watch out for the sales to try and match up your purchases with them. But the Tomahawk, I really like the Tomahawk as a general plane. I think it's got a really nice skin to it as well. And I generally like the play style of the P40s. And obviously the H81A2 is pretty much just a P40. So for me personally, when I look at this, I'm very much a fan of picking it up, and also as a person who is not a fan of a lot of the lower tier Chinese vehicles, since they're very similar to what I've played before, picking up something like the H81 would mean I would be able to skip a lot of that, so I would see that as a positive. It also has the usefulness of being useful in ground realistic because of its secondary armament. So there's also that too. The next one is the Leoncello. The Leoncello at 3.3 makes a cornerstone of the Italian lineup of that BR. 3.3 is one of those BRs I always go back to when it comes to Italy, to be able to do authentic decals, to get, you know, SL and stuff like that, because what you have is the P40, then you have the P40 Leoncello, either the 105-25 or you have something like the Contrario, plus the HS129B2 Romania and the C202EC. This is a very, very strong lineup, and the only problem with the Leoncello, even though it has okay armor, it has pretty good speed, it has good smoke and all of this, the only issue with it is the fact that its heat round can sometimes just not do anything. It's not very reliable, which is really, really annoying. You also get some pretty cool stuff with it, such as the badge of the tank units of the Italian army, and also this 3D decoration, the Breda Mod 38. So you get a few little like extra things with it, which is kind of nice. The next plaque is the T62. This is the Chinese machine. This is the Chinese T62, which is getting taken out of the game. And since it is getting taken out of the game, it's also $55, so crazy expensive. I've got a feeling that something's going to be coming in to replace this. Otherwise, I don't know why they would remove it. So my question is, what are they going to bring in to replace it, and is it worth waiting for? And I think the answer is going to be yes, it is. The T62 I really like as a vehicle. It's a very fun vehicle, has a lot of really nice stuff to it, you know, in the Soviet tech tree. In the Chinese tech tree, not so much, because it's 8.3, you can't really build a lineup around it, you know, you have to bring along a bunch of 8.0s, which still do really well at that BR, but it's still not great. The other thing as well is you don't have a competent plane to be able to run at 8.3 either, so it's very hard to justify running the T62 by itself instead of alongside a bunch of other stuff like you do in the Soviet tree. So even though the T62 is a very good vehicle, hard to justify the price of it, and especially since they're taking it out and probably replacing it with something else, I would wait and see what that something else is. The next one is the Cowl. It's a better version of an American tech tree destroyer. It's $50. There's also other options that you can pick up for cheaper, I believe. If I can have a look here. Ah, yes, the Phelps. Have a look at how much the Phelps is on the marketplace, and also the 94-footer. The 94-footer is a very fun little vehicle. I would definitely recommend both of them over this one, since this one is so expensive. The next and the last one is the STRV-81. This is going to be $40, and it's a Centurion Mark III with RB-52s attached to it, or SS-11s as you're used to them. So the Cent Mark III is a very good vehicle. It does pretty much everything well, has a good stabilizer at 6.7, which a lot of other vehicles don't, sometimes struggles with the stopping power of its gun, but I would say is one of the most solid vehicles at 6.7, probably one of the best as well. And imagine just taking that and then adding missiles to it, well, that's pretty much what you get here. So I would say it's a definite recommendation when it comes to the Centurion pack. Even though they've replaced it with the Centurion Action X, I still think this one is more interesting and better than the Centurion Action X, just because there's more interesting stuff to it in the form of the missiles. So for me, this is a go. So overall, the P47 is a yes, Kiyoshima is a no, Tomahawk's a yes, Leoncello is a maybe if you want to do authentic decals or grind through the Italian tree, T62 is a no, Cowl's a no, and the Centurion is a yes. So that is covering the May sale for War Thunder and all of its bits and bobs. Hopefully we get some more information on if there's going to be any other events and stuff around stuff like Victory Day, but at least for now the sale is looking really nice. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. Make sure to keep on top of it so you can get the discounts at the right times, and as always, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Eugene's Terry, Daniel Stanton, Blackie, Elove Goat, Jay Wilt, Martinez, B. Young, Chris Giltnane, Trigger Hippie, Ambrosius McClellan, and also Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.